Okay, welcome to week 14 in the NFL. I'm Chris Colombo. This is Taking Action. It was a perfect week. Uh, my main pick stood up. My other choice stood up. Anthony's picks up. We had a perfect clean sweep, even the way we leaned. We're going to go over comments, and we're going to go over week 13, and I'm going to see what we can do for week 14. I'll be right back, witches. Okay, welcome back. Taking Action. I'm Chris Colombo. With me, as always, is Anthony Conover, starting to become one of the best handicappers in the business.
Hey,
I'll get cocky.
we're trying.
That's it. We're evaluating, we're adapting, we're overcoming, we're improvising, we're reading what other people don't read.
Solutions and resolutions.
That's right. Okay, there is no variable that we don't consider. Even it may be go from the subliminal to the sublime. That makes sense? I don't know.
Fancy
Okay,
words,
it's a
though.
rough day. Okay, welcome to this is episode 17, week 14 in the NFL. Okay, let's go over week 13. Oh, by the way, hit subscribe, hit like if you like us. If you don't like us, what can I tell you? But what's most important is we are working on an interactive. You seem to like the comments. A lot of good ones this week that I want to address. A lot of ridiculous ones. I want to move my address. All right. Let's move forward. Okay, let's recap 13. I'm a little happy about that.
Yeah, week 13 did very well on that one. Obviously, your main pick stood up there. My main pick stood up, and then kind of the ways we leaned also stood up as well.
Well, I gave a main pick and I gave a second pick.
Yeah.
I gave two picks. Some weeks I told you there might be none. Even though push it, and I said some weeks there may be multiple. I don't schedule it. I just see what I see. Fits my criteria, and I think it's safe for you to play with. I'm going for it. Okay, but it still is gambling. So I'm 13-1 now.
Yeah.
Okay, I gave it a Colts -1.5, but I think they were actually one. Don Best was down. Yeah. So one of my main tools, but I muddled through it. Or waddled through it. And we did the best we could. We adapted, we improvised, we overcame. It worked out. It's Don Best is very important, and we shoot the show on a Tuesday because the lines come out on a Tuesday morning. I used to put them out Monday morning. The New York line no longer exists. That's a bookmaker's line. It was the strongest line. And you can see the moves right away because the sharp action bets immediately before the bookmaker or the odds maker has a chance to adjust. That's why the closer your opening line to your closing line in was very important to a bookmaker, and I read it well. Okay. I like the Colts -1.5. I like them better at 1. Okay. Came down to a field goal.
Overtime.
But I was anticipating a close game. That's why the line was 1. I also picked it because it was a game. And I've been trying to pick games that, in case legalized gambling has affected the NFL, that would be a game that would be no consequence to play with, which makes my job even harder. Okay, moving forward, I also picked the Rams. Rams -3. I think they won by more.
Yeah, I know they covered. I don't know.
Yes.
What the exact score was.
You're supposed to know. You're supposed to hell, use the best stats man in the business.
Actually, we have the sheet over there.
I don't look at sheets. People are full of sheets. So anyway, moving forward, Anthony picked.
I had the Lions -4.5.
I like the Lions -4.5, but I like to keep it between 3 and 3 because you could win but not cover, and 4.5 is a weird line to me. But I did like the Lions, and I approve of that pick. He's starting to come down on his ladder of favorites when he's laying. Early on, you saw it was all big favorites. I would rather take it than lay it. And if it doesn't fit, I'd rather pass on it.
And then obviously we were both pretty heavy on the 49ers who went into Philly and took care of business, to say the least.
Well, sometimes you should say the least. But moving forward, also, I picked Green Bay outright. So every which direction I went was the right direction. I'm glad I could do it. This is a tough week. There is not really a team that jumps out at me, but we're going to do the best we can. Okay, let's go over this week's schedule. Round of applause for last week for all of us.
Don Best was back up, thankfully.
What?
I said Don Best was back up, thankfully. So
yeah, but it was after we filmed. It didn't matter.
No, I'm saying for this week.
Yeah, of course.
So we're back over with Don Best, obviously. And we kick it off with Thursday night. The Patriots at the Steelers. Steelers start off as 6.5-point favorites. They're now 5.5-point favorites. Over-under went from 35 to 30. The slowest over-under I have ever seen. Obviously, the Patriots offense is not very good. And Kenny Pickett, the quarterback for the Steelers, he got hurt in the game last week. So probably going to end up being a backup situation. So a lot of variables in that one.
Well, the sharp action and wise guys, and when I mean wise guys, the guys that control the smart betting. And you see that was a 5-point move on a total in a short period of time. I don't know if I agree with him on this time. Favorites have not always, totals have not always been my favorite choice. It's very difficult to say how much they're going to play under and over. If I go with the under because people usually like the over because they're always in it. If you bet it over and it goes under and it goes over in the first quarter, you feel cheated. So that's a game you got to leave to yourself. That's a very low under. That means there's serious money on that game. 5 points. It may even move more. It's the lowest total in gaming history. The lowest I ever remember is 32, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I've obviously newer, but I have not seen a 30. That is very low.
But let me finish. It's already taken its hits. So under 35 is where you would have wanted to be. And the wise guys bet it and people followed it. That's how it got to 30. So it's already been addressed. The line has already been tight. If you're going to go with the under, buyer beware. Go ahead next.
Sunday, the Jaguars at the Browns. The Jaguars started off as 3-point favorites. The Browns are now 3-point favorites. That total went from 40 to 31.
Who's the Browns quarterback now?
Joe Flacco, right off the couch.
And I tell you, he's not doing a bad job, Joe Flacco.
Then obviously the other big news in this game, Trevor Lawrence, last night on Monday Night Football, hurt his ankle. I'm going to assume he's missing this game. I mean, it looked pretty serious. He had to be helped all the way back to the locker room. So,
well, let me tell you something. The way the injury reports have been, I don't trust them.
Never know.
Never know.
Just like Joe Burrow.
Yeah, I mean, they could give him a death certificate and be back to play.
Yeah, so anything on that one, I'm staying away.
I mean, Joe Burrows.
Well, hey.
I set him in the possessive, his team. As in Burrows and company. Who do you like in that game?
I would not touch the Jags or the Browns in this one. That's too many unknowns.
And the point spread is?
The Browns are now 3-point favorites.
And it went from 3 to 3.
Yes.
That's a 6-point move. That's telling you where the sharp money is and where all the money is. That's a big move. That means the Browns is in play, but it's already been hit. It's already been adjusted. On to the next. Be a good game to watch. Good luck, Joe Flacco.
All right.
Wish I could do as well off the couches here.
The Rams at the Ravens. Ravens start off as 7.5-point favorites. They're now 7-point favorites. That total went from 44.5 to 40.5.
Well, what is happening is that hook, they're just taking it because games do fall on 7. And like I said, in handicap, it's supposed to make the field equal. So all they're doing is saying that I'll take the 7.5 for a little bit of money. That's going to be another good one to watch. Go ahead.
The Lions at the Bears, the classic divisional showdown. Lions 4.5-point favorites to start off. Now 3-point favorites. Total went from 46.5 to 40. A lot of movements on the totals this week.
Well, they're hitting them because the unders are coming in.
Yeah, unders have been pretty good, especially in primetime games. Unders have been good this year.
As long as you like them. Okay, that's a divisional rivalry. They play each other tough. The smart money is leaning towards the Bears. I would have to lean towards the Lions. I don't think they need the game as much as the Bears do. I don't think the Bears are even in contention, are they?
No, and the Lions.
So they're coming to play for respect and dignity. Don't sell that short. I lean towards the Lions. Usually like to take the points in divisional rivalry, especially home team underdog.
Yep.
But I wouldn't bet it either way, but I would watch it. And, Lions have some place to go, and the Bears don't. The worst they could do is try to spoil them in the division. Go ahead.
The Panthers at the Saints. Saints started off as 6.5-point favorites. They're now 5-point favorites. That total went from 37 to 37.5.
Who did the Saints play last week?
Last week, the Saints played the Lions. That was a close one, 33-28.
That's what I was saying. That's what I'm talking about over here. Saints showed me something against the Lions, so they're leaning towards the Saints in that game. Is that correct?
Well, it went from 6.5 to 5. So,
and the Saints are what?
5-point favorites.
And so they're leaning the other way.
Yeah, leaning towards the Panthers.
Okay.
Surprisingly.
How about the Saints are home, right?
Saints are at home.
Okay. I never like to lay the points. I'm not saying to bet this game, but I would lean towards the Saints. I like what they did against the Lions.
Yeah, great second half comeback. Just fell a little short.
Good.
Buccaneers at the Falcons. Falcons started off as 2-point favorites. They're now 2.5-point favorites. That total went from 40 to 39.
So anyway, that game, neither one of those teams show me anything consistent. I don't know how to evaluate that one. Baker Mayfield comes to play. He can play. The Falcons have been on a roller coaster.
Yeah.
I don't think either of those teams are going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's crunch time now, and I don't think the game is very important to anyone.
Well, I mean, divisional game, the whole division, besides the Panthers, is still kind of alive because they're all bad. So they're alive for the division because the whole division is under 500. So important game in that aspect, but
So you think the Panthers could go to the playoffs?
No. The Panthers are the only team that can't.
Right.
It's the Buccaneers, Falcons, and then the Saints.
Yeah, but they also sometimes play to spoil within the division. I stay away from that game.
Yeah, I would not touch it either. Colts.
You'll find during division games, non-division games, there's teams that like to spoil. They'll play hard because they'll get the recognition on prime time and see that. Go ahead.
The Colts at the Bengals. Colts start off as 2-point favorites. They are now a 1-point favorite. That total stuck at 40.
The Bengals showed me a lot last week.
Yeah.
I told you about that quarterback, didn't I?
Yeah, he's been surprisingly good.
But I told you about him before anybody knew.
Yeah.
Correct? All right. I like the Colts. They squeaked one out. I think the Bengals are a better team than the Titans.
Yeah.
I think the Bengals are home. I think they have aspirations of some daylight.
Yeah.
I lean towards the Bengals.
I would agree with you on that one.
I could die a happy man.
The Texans at the Jets. Texans started off as 4.5-point favorites. They're now 6-point favorites. That total went from 38.5 to 33. Little controversy with the Jets going on right now, too. They cut Tim Boyle, who started last week. They tried Trevor Siemian. He didn't work out. They wanted Zach Wilson to go back in and play quarterback again. He told them, I'm good. Doesn't really want to play quarterback right now. So I don't even know who's starting for the Jets, if I'm being honest with you.
It doesn't matter. That defense shows up. And Jets are at home, right?
Jets are home.
And they're playing the Titans, right?
Texans.
Yes. I mean, and what's the point spread?
It went from 4.5 to 6.
I mean, it don't take a brain surgeon on that game, but it sounds like a what we call a bookmaker's trap. That's a wrong line. They should be much more than that over the Jets. So you make up your mind what you want to do. I'm not touching it because that line should be higher than 6. It should have opened up higher than 4.5. It moved the 1.5 to show you where the sharp money is in a short period of time. all indications are there ain't a reason why the Texans shouldn't win that game, and that's what scares me. Go ahead. If people believe it is choreographed, this would be one that is.
The Seahawks at the 49ers. 49ers started out and still are 10.5-point favorites. Big one there. And that total went from 44 to 46.5.
You know, 10.5 is a lot of points, but the 49ers are a team that I've said that is, I believe, is the best team in the NFL and one of the best teams I've seen play. Purdy's getting better and better.
Yeah.
Their running game is superb. I mean, you know, it doesn't get any better than Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Just doesn't happen. The guy's all heart. The receivers are in sync. They're in motion. They're in rhythm. 10.5 is a lot of points. It's up to you what you do. Next.
The Vikings at the Raiders. Vikings started off as a 1-point favorite. They're now 3-point favorites, and that total stayed at 40.5.
I loved the Vikings at 1, and it went to 3. You know, it went immediately. If I was going to bet the Vikings, I would have bet them at 1. I still like them at 3. I don't know what my pick is going to be this week, but at 1, it would have been the Vikings.
Fair enough. The Broncos at the Chargers. Chargers start off as a 3-point favorite. They're now 2.5-point favorites. That total went from 45.5 down to 44.
That's a scary move because they're saying that it was a 3-point, but now they're going to, how does it come out by 2.5 or 2? So if it comes out by 3, the favorite loses and the underdog wins. I don't understand that line move. It really takes a significant to come off a 3, 7 or 10, but more so 3. This is why this week is completely 100% fishy to me. That reason.
I might surprise you then. I think my Broncos are my pick this week.
Okay, go ahead.
I think the Broncos just win this game outright. So I'm not even.
Go ahead.
So I'm rolling with the Broncos this week,
Okay.
plus the 2.5. The Bills at the Chiefs should be a good game. Chiefs started off as a 3-point favorite. That also went down to 2.5. That total went from 48 to 47.5.
And the Chiefs are favored.
Chiefs are favored by 2.5. Yes,
And they're home.
they are at
That
home.
means they're half-point underdog.
Yeah,
That is another very fishy line.
yeah, that one's very surprising to me.
Right? Vegas is rocking because of that, baby. This is a week that I don't understand the line moves. I don't understand what the odds maker's doing. That is another fishy line. Go ahead.
The Sunday night game, Eagles at the Cowboys. Cowboys start off as a 2.5-point favorite. Now they're 3.5-point favorites, and that total went from 48.5 to 53.
My pick is the Eagles plus 3.5. People say I don't pick any hard games. That's a hard one to pick. 2.5 to 3.5. That means that people bet it early, laid 2.5. People took the 3.5 late. That's what you call a conundrum and a bookmaker's nightmare if that game falls on 3. It's a Sunday night game, a nationally televised game. If that game falls on 3, you're going to see bookmakers jumping out the window. That is Black Sunday for bookmakers. And that's another line move I don't understand, and I'm saying this is a fishy week. But I like the Eagles 3.5. No way, no how. Do I think they're 3.5 dog to anyone?
Fair enough. Chris, there's 2 Monday games.
Go ahead.
I don't know why, but
That always confuses the following week for handicapping.
and they're played at the exact same time. Both.
Oh, by the way, all right, go ahead.
All right. The Titans at the Dolphins. The Dolphins started off as 11.5-point favorites. They're now 13.5-point favorites. That total went from 44 to 47.
That people believe that there's going to be a runaway game there when Dolphins play. They play like the Cowboys do. When they play it with everybody.
Yeah, they can put up points quick.
Yes, the Titans have played better than they have been playing. You know, they got Henry, and you know they got some players.
Hopkins.
I wouldn't bet that game. Go ahead.
And then the final game of the week is the Packers at the Giants. Packers start off as a 6-point favorite. They're now 6.5-point favorites. That total went from 37.5 to 37.
I think Packers are still in the hunt.
Yeah, especially these last 2 weeks. They beat the Lions on Thanksgiving. They beat the Chiefs on Sunday night. So they're on a little
Giants
bit of a roll.
historically like to be the spoiler team, coming down to the edge of knocking people out of have to win or get knocked out. They're the most famous team in football for that. I think it's going to be a good game to watch. Go Pack, Vince Lombardi, all that. Packs. They're a football town. Okay, so my pick of the week is, and I would rather pick no one this week. But if you had to go anywhere, the only thing that I see out of whack, and it's a tough one to pick, is the Eagles plus 3.5. I liked the Vikings
If they were at 1, but they moved to
at
3.
1. It moved, means a lot of other people liked it and followed it. There's been very difficult line moves. Let's see what happens. I'm Chris Colombo. This is Anthony Conover. We gave you probably a flawless week, which is unheard of. I'm now 13-1. That is unheard of. That's over 92, 93, 94%.
Yeah.
I hope I can keep doing it for you. We'll be back with our comment section. Welcome back to Taking Action. This is the comment section. As you know, I'm Anthony Colombo. Chris Colombo. This is Anthony Conover. This is the comment section. You seem to like this, and let me tell you, there were some very smart comments. Okay, Trey 33911 or TRE 33911. Round robin parlay. What is my opinion? My opinion, with dogs in there, when they hit, they will knock your clock in. Round robin parlay is you can take 3 teams and they coordinate that with the 3 2-team parlays, which keys on 1. 4-team, which you pick 5 teams. 3 teams, which you pick 4 teams. They have them all the way up. The likelihood of hitting them is difficult, but I had a guy that used to play me, I would say 80,000 a day in them. I'm not kidding you. He may be the guy that's asking us. And when he hit him, let me tell you something, he'd scare you. $200,000, $300,000, $500,000 week was not up there, but when he went, he went. And he got him in faster than anybody ever seen. He was an IT guy. If you want action, if you want multiple volleys and you're out of your mind, that's the play. On a whole, I've never seen them go to distance or anybody bet them and go to distance. It would have to be a special circumstance and a special week. And however, a 2-team parlay, just 2 teams with 2 dogs, is the most dangerous bet in sports betting. Okay, let's go to the next one. Ron Burgundy, my pal here. 9234, I think. How do I weigh on bet history with wins and losses? Like you weigh a lot, like the Jets have never beat whoever or beat them home or whatever.
I thought you were calling me fat at first. I weigh a lot. It's a joke.
You want to look in and get a heavier
co-host?
Yeah, that too. Actors, I was going to say. We don't act. We tell the truth, even when we lie. But anyway, not at the point. I don't consider it at all. A lot of people do. I do not. I mean, I don't understand a team 3 years ago is not the same team now. Even sometimes the team of 3 months ago is not the same team now. Anthony considers it. I don't. It does make interesting conversation. It is a statistic. I don't consider it at all. I never did. Okay. PFEPFE8909. Tips on money and risk management. That is the smartest question that anybody asked here. Besides, not even in correlation with the line and not betting multiple teams, if you know risk management and money management is the most important thing to being successful by the end of the year. And after I go over, and by the time we're, and I don't want to say educated, but familiar with my system, the way to bet with risk management and money management is the key to being how much of a winner and you can be a serious winner by, especially when you're hitting a streak like I have, and I have continuously my entire career. I've always done it this way, and I think the worst year I ever was 87%. I think the best year I ever was 100%. But I didn't bet as many games. There were weeks I skipped, but there's weeks I bet multiple if it hit my criteria. We are going to get into that. That is the smartest question anybody has asked. That means you're paying attention, and it means you're probably playing the games because you don't know what to do with the money you're winning. But we should have started that at the beginning of the year, but we can do it now. Very good question. I hail you.
You know how I am with my money. Save everything.
I think that's Lavoni Bland 5928. 5.5 a dead move, even when you move off it. If it is the opening line 5.5, I normally stay away from it. It's always been a nightmare, but a dead line. If it opens at 4 and goes to the 5.5, that's different. Opens to 6 and drops to 5.5, that's different. The opening line is opening line 5.5.
So is it because if it opens at that line, you don't think that they knew exactly what that game was going to be? But if it moves to that, it's because
there's no mathematical reason or set of circumstances. It could be at 5.5, so they don't know what they're doing with the game.
Yeah, but I'm saying you don't mind it so much if it moves to 5.5 because that means
if it goes from 5.5, I also stay away from it. But if it goes from 6 to 5.5 or 5,
and that's just because people were betting one way, so
the smart people came in.
Yeah, makes sense.
Okay. BC flavor. Short week. No, I knew it was a short week. I was using that particular week so I didn't have to confuse you or myself with other teams and show who they were playing if it was a short week. To make you understand it, I had a perfect week. I was 1 for 1, and I was 3 for 4 the way I leaned.
Yeah.
That's a very good week, and that was because of a short week. But that's what I was doing. I was using that week and putting it in the short week so we didn't have to confuse 900 games. Good question, though. Yeah. That means you're looking for me to fall on my face. Slick Corleone. Home dog, is it always plus 3.5? No. What the way Vegas sets the line, home field advantage is -3. So if the line they feel is pick 'em and the Jets are home, they would be -3. If the Jets they figured +3, they would still be +3. They would be pick 'em. If they would pick 'em, they would be -3. So you give up 3 points for being home.
Yep.
I don't know where 3.5 came from. Donna Diarrhea. That's a very good name for you. I suggest you get some Lamotal before you ask your question. Most successful bookmaker in America. Says who? I didn't give myself the name. When they put the show together, there was a corporate guy that was president of Warner Brothers Broadcasting. He did research. When they indicted me and tried to give me life for bookmaking, they justified it saying that I was the longest and most successful bookmaker. I didn't think being good at something didn't hurt somebody should put you in jail. Maybe being bad at it might be. But moving forward, Donna Diarrhea, very good name. Matter of fact, no, nothing nice to say.
Eat a little more potassium, might clear up the
diarrhea. No, I don't want to get involved at all. But matter of fact, a little positive energy. I'm not an egomaniac. Actually, I'm very humble. 14 virtues of man, Marcus Aurelius. LP4324, Roddy Lasrovovich. Check the family tree. I check with people I know. Just because I didn't know him doesn't mean he wasn't related to people. Wherever he is, I wish him well. Thank you for asking. Okay, one other thing, my friend Jimmy's place over there wants to take my money, wants to bet me. I am no longer a bookmaker. Who knows you, pal? They'll put me in jail again. I am here to help people win. I think 13-1 is
I'd say that's pretty good.
I would say I am the best handicapper in the world right now with those odds. No one else. I've watched every handicapping show. I've watched every statistical guy. I've watched everything. They are falling on their face this year. I am 13-1. I'm not bragging. I'm bragging for you. I hope you followed me. Okay. Don't forget to hit subscribe. We'll be back next week. Eagles are my pick. I didn't see a lot this week. All the lines, or the majority of them, look fishy to me. Achille, thank you for editing. Achille Antonelli. Anthony, thank you for being here. We have a dinner appointment, and me and Anthony don't miss no meals.
Never that.
Okay, thank you.